Yeah. So anyways, man, what can I do for you?
Yeah, so just got some questions, especially around this time. So in terms of like client acquisition, advertising, and your like lead gen techniques, have you altered anything for right now?
I have not. I'm still kind of in, as much as I like to be proactive, I'm still kind of just waiting to be a little bit reactive now.
Okay,
I haven't seen it really much of a change at all in our business. In terms of the agency side of things, we actually just closed the contract yesterday. Granted, that did come in before, but most of the consultation process has been going on the last 2 weeks. They're all local here in Miami. We're supposed to meet in person. We had a Zoom call yesterday. They are an online e-commerce store that sells products that are like skincare and stuff, so probably not affected by this type of stuff.
got it. Yeah.
Well, let me ask. I mean, do you work mostly with local businesses?
No. So I only work with one business that's local businesses, yes, just not local to me.
Okay.
So I have one in Philly, like one in St. Louis, another in New York. So they're dispersed throughout the country. But the one in Philadelphia, they closed up shop as far as in-person visits. It's a weight loss doctor, and um, he kind of closed his office down for the time being, and they're doing telemedicine.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say. So, I mean, what do most of your clients do? Do you have a specific industry, or is it just kind of all over the board?
It's all over the board right now, but what I'm trying to do is actually niche down into mental health
Okay. Cool.
counselors or therapists, which they can also do telemedicine,
Yeah.
which makes it a little bit easier. But I just started the kind of framing of all of my lead gen and messaging around that probably like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's I have a watch repair store, which I'm sure eventually will be affected, and an e-com store which hasn't been. So yeah, it kind of runs the gamut.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, so a couple of things. I think number one is now is the time to double down on the clients that you have. For example, it doesn't sound like your clients will be too impacted by that. I mean, that's the first thing is just kind of understanding and being proactive with your clients. If you're feeling like this and you can work from home and it's not really going to affect you, imagine how some of your other clients are feeling. So just kind of, again, being proactive, reaching out in this time and just letting them know that you're still working and that even if you don't have a plan right now, that you guys are available to talk and that you're working on things for, to help them get through this. And again, I mean, I always plan for the worst, hope for the best. I would plan for this being a 6-month thing, just the way things are going in terms of impacting anything that's going to impact person to person interactions, things like that. So, it's good that your one local client is thinking about telemedicine. You could even reach out and be like, hey, look at, I do quite a bit of, teleconsulting. Like if there's anything that we can do to help you move your practice online, like let me know. So that could be an opportunity to
Yeah.
drum up some more revenue, but also to, maintain that client. So and just kind of looking at your current client portfolio, same thing. If there's anything that in terms of how your expertise in terms of working remote, um, just offer them a hand,
Got
things
it.
like that. I think kind of just like securing what you have now is incredibly important just for the health of your business, family, all that stuff, just make sure that your clients aren't going to go anywhere unless of course their business is so impacted that they have to get rid of you. And that's just
Right.
part of it. Right.
Right.
I think that's step one. I think that's more important than getting new leads in the door. But after you do that, I think now is also a really good time to start to, we all have more time on our hands right now, which is a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
and it seems like it's extra hard to focus now just with everything going on. So I mean, just from like the personal and mental health side of view of things, I mean, I would just say this is just my personal opinion on is that you check in on this stuff once a day, you understand what's happening, but aside from that, like I've completely shut down my Instagram feed. Like it's wasting our mind space on stuff that doesn't
Mm,
need to be, and it was really cutting into my productivity last week, and just feeling very anxious about everything. And once I stopped that, NFL free agency is going on now too, so it's kind of helped to take away from things, which is cool.
yeah. Totally.
Like get back to normal life a little bit. But I would say like definitely use this time to be hyper productive. Now is also an excuse for us to be in front of our computers more without without like our families being like, get the fuck off your computer. So we have extra time, and it's important to use that. And my point being is that now I think is a perfect time for you to double down and focus on that messaging for mental health counselors, right? So if you're going to like redo your messaging, putting together new decks, kind of new positioning points, like all the stuff that you never have time to do that is important. Now's the time to do that. Just make a checklist of everything that you need to do. I'm personally big. So like when it comes to niching down to, it doesn't mean that you have to redo your whole website, stuff like that. To me, it's more of a separate thing, like get together a specific PowerPoint deck that you can send to people, just kind of about your services, your case studies, just to kind of build that separate, get those things together. And then now's also a good time to start making connections with people, doing the little things like, connecting on social media, finding contact info, just starting to seed those relationships. And again, too, like there's nothing wrong with reaching out. Now, again, you have to be very careful, especially in that space, people who are intelligent and educated and don't want to see people getting taken advantage of at this time. So there's a big fine line to toe between reaching out to mental health counselors and being like, hey, like shit is going down right now, but like you can still make money. So there's a very fine line, so just kind of make sure that if you're going to do outreach, which I think that you should, again, in terms of relationship building and starting to generate leads in that space, it's a very fine line to toe to be taking advantage of something versus being helpful to them in this time,
Right. I've tried to actually take the approach. So the reason that I decided to go after mental health, the mental health space, is because I was feeling like I went after the cookie cutter, like med spas and plastic surgeons, and I was like, you know what? When I was looking for help, when my friends were looking for help, they couldn't find anybody easily. So it felt like a good area that wasn't necessarily just like saturated with people going after therapists, but also I could position it as you're genuinely helping people find you.
Absolutely.
So in a time of anxiousness and uncertainty, you can be that calming voice for,
Yeah. And I also think it's a great space to go after. I think we're on the cusp just as a culture of being pushed over mentally, just with what technology is doing to us, anxiety, all these different things that are on the rise. And even shit like this, that's happening now too. I mean, humanity is in for a reawakening, I think, over the next couple of decades, and more of this type of stuff to come, whether it's with the environment or with just things that are outside of our control. So, I actually think I've sought therapy in the past for a number of things too. So I fully stand by it. I think everyone should have accessibility to talk to a therapist. In part of it is breaking down that stigma of even someone watching this being like judging us for doing this. It's like, that's part of the problem, is that, it should be something that everyone can access. And I agree too, when I was looking for somebody, it was really hard to find people. And the guy that I ended up going with was somebody who was blogging regularly, and I found his blog posts, and he was talking about stuff that I related to. So, I mean, even that knowledge, I think that you can have a lot of success, definitely. And I think that also, because of what's happening now, a lot of these therapists are probably realizing, and I think if any good thing come from this virus, is first and foremost from a business point of view, is people are going to realize you can work from home. And it's actually not as bad as you think, and you can be more productive in this and that. So, and I think a lot of people too, in terms of us on the other side of that, I still have a therapist. I talk to him once a month now, but we do it via FaceTime, and he's a mile down the road,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm just more comfortable with it. It saves me time, it's just my personal preference. So, I think starting to formulate that into kind of your own strategy and how you can take that to counselors, I think you can have a lot of success. And again, I do think now is a good time. Again, you just have to be very careful, because it's on their minds now too. A lot of them, they're going to be seeing their business impacted in terms of people coming in.
Right.
So now is a good time to toe the line again, to not be like, hey, your practice is crashing, like, let me help you move online. But like, figuring out that right kind of outbound communication, which is just going to come through testing, putting yourself in their shoes, like what type of email, what type of direct message would make you, same thing with you, right? If somebody hit you up talking about how you can help take your agency online, like what would that communication look like that would make you feel like it was a positive outreach and, genuine, ready to help. I think using video is a really great way to like break the ice in terms of like, being able to show your tone via video. Just make a video just like this, talking to yourself, just giving them some tips on how to take their practice online. So like what I would do is start to come up with, again, like some tips for them that are just free that can help them out during this time. So like some things that I know off the top of my head is number one is blogging. Like they're going to have more time on their hands. You can tell a story just how I just told you about how, you know, you've found counselors in the past through blogging. Like it's a great creative output. Another one is like having them start to think about building their own online communities. My ex-business partner, Nick Eubanks, his wife, I don't know if you know who he is. He's actually in Philly. His wife and him have launched a Slack group for people with infertility problems. You know,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's these communities that they like, just giving them some ideas, kind of like just a blog post. It's just like you'd write a blog post for your website, but just recording a quick video with some tips. You know, you can just shoot a quick video, be like, hey, my name's Corey. You know, I help during normal times, I help mental health counselors get more customers. You know, I'm just reaching out now because of everything that's going on. Like, I'm just sending out free advice just to pay it forward. Like, your business is being impacted. Here's some free ways that you can start to think about how to bring your business online. Like, number one, like start a community. Number two, start writing, create video, you know, just pushing more information out there. Like, now is a time more than ever when people need the help. Like, you can be that calm voice of reasoning. And then just also explain to them too, that by doing so, by giving away free information, they're going to get paying customers in return. And then talk about, you know, some of the technology that they can use, like Zoom, Hangouts, you know, all these things that are readily available for them to do this type of stuff, accepting payments. You know, you could even put together a blog post with all this stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it. You know, again, I think the key thing there is coming off at, because people are so divided on this right now, you know, just on like, you know, my personal opinion is that you shouldn't be taking advantage of it, but like life has to go forward.
Yeah.
And
it's the new normal, at least for now.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, you know, and it's good that we're already comfortable with it. Like, I haven't seen any sort of impact in anything with our business. If anything, like the Blueprint is actually doing a little bit more sales right now. I think because people are like, all right, I got some time in my hands, you know, I can force now, blah, blah, blah. And from the agency side of view, you know, we did lose 2 pitches last 3 weeks because of this. Just one was a local coffee shop that was like, hey, look at like, you know, they're a Danish-based company. So they were like, you know, everything that's happening in Europe, like we're already shutting down our stores there. So we're going to have to do it here. We're not spending on marketing. The other one was a cruise line. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, there's going to be plenty of companies that are going to be looking to, you know, use this time to build their online presence. So another thing that you can do too is consulting. That's, again, so offering them consulting as opposed to agency services, you know, is a good way, like, to just, again, I think right now the key thing is keeping cash flow, you know, profitable cash flow coming through the door. Again, things that are going to help you pay for yourself, your employees. You know, I don't know what your family situation is like, but, you know, just make sure that you don't miss a beat at home. So that way, because generally what happens, just based off experience, and one of the reasons why we're so comfortable now is because of the Blueprint. The Blueprint is a very high margin cash flow business that's allowed us to stockpile some cash reserves. So, you know, we don't have to panic. We don't have to turn off our ad spend during this time. And, you know, cash is really oxygen, you know, so anything that you can do to kind of hustle up some extra cash is always big.